This episode has been sponsored by How To Social, the premier digital marketing agency for real estate agents and loan officers. Go to howtosocial.com to join the movement. Okay, guys, thanks for coming back to the podcast. Listen, we have a special guest today, and I'm going to let him introduce himself, and we're going to learn a little bit about who he is and what he does. All right, brother, the mic is yours.
Hey, thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to be here and tell you a little bit more about myself. I'm here representing the STR Grow Summit, but that's not where my business started. The STR Grow Summit is something we'll talk about in a bit, but where I started is I own a company called Bott Vacation Rentals, and we're located out of Colorado, and we service from Denver all the way up to, the ski towns of Breckenridge and Silverthorne and Keystone. So we deal with some very beautiful homes, and that's really how I got into this industry. I'm a native of Colorado, and I love the area, moved to the mountains as soon as I could, and bought a property up here and eventually turned it into a Airbnb and got myself into this business.
Oh, nice, man. Nice. Okay. So, well, first of all, I'm super jealous that you're in Colorado right now because I'm in Texas, and a friend of mine had put a comment on social media, and I had put some post out about it being so hot here. And he was like, man, you guys are living in an air fryer. And I was like, yeah, that's the perfect explanation to where we're at right now. It's been triple degrees weather for the last, I don't know, almost a month. And man, I am jealous, brother. I am jealous. Loving it.
We're not dealing with anything over in the 90s here, so I feel bad for you guys. I spent a lot of time down there in Austin due to the
Yes.
conference coming up, and man, I was there for a heat wave. It was like 112 degrees, somewhat humid, and I was taking a shower after I was taking showers every single day. So I'm like, I came back home, and me and my business partner, we were just thankful. We went for a hike in the mountains. It was nice and cool, like a solid 80 degrees out here with no humidity. So you are right, man. Colorado's a awesome place to be, and that's why it's such a great location that people want to come to.
And I'm jealous. And yeah, you're right, especially vacation to get away from this heat. Man, that's definitely. So yeah, so tell us a little bit of how you got into you started telling us, how you got to Colorado. Tell us a little bit more about what that journey was, what it looked like, and man, how did you jump off to, to get things started?
Yeah. So, I'm what you call the epitome of a young father. I started very young, and I had my first son when I was 19 years old. And I also realized that I wasn't good at having bosses. So I dived into a moving company, and I started moving people residential throughout Colorado. And that was my job for a while. Eventually, I found a contract through an online database to do TVs, and I dived into the home theater industry. I
Yeah.
brought that to a level where I was servicing Best Buy, Costco, Sam's, Conn's Home Plus, all of the major retailers out there. And we had an extremely successful company because of that. I done over 10,000 TVs myself. And because of that success that I found in the home theater industry, we actually were able to buy a beautiful home in Evergreen, Colorado, perched on the top of a mountain. It's got 1,200 square foot deck, and that was our first home.
Nice.
And after a while, our kids got older, and taking our kids into town was a 30-minute drive just to get them to gymnastics. So one way there was 30, other 30 back. That's an hour of your night just right there, not
Yeah.
even counting the practice time. So we decided we're going to move closer into town and created our first Airbnb. And that's really where it all began. We found great success there because we started it at a time where, COVID was just it was 2020 and
Right.
COVID was in the mix, and everybody and their dog wanted to be at places not surrounded by anybody else.
Right.
So Airbnb exploded, this industry exploded because we offer that personalized experience where you can go somewhere and actually stay there because we offer so many amenities and it's such a destination location.
Absolutely. And listen, I'll tell you, me and my family, we Airbnb often. We just got back from a trip from Pensacola, Florida, and they're right now in Galveston right now, on in another Airbnb, same thing. So, we definitely, that's definitely a way to go. Man, but listen, I want to know a little bit more. This is the thing, right? So you found a lot of success at an early age, and I feel like and I feel like it's just like you said, like it was 19 years old. You were 19 years old, and you were like, man, I gotta, I'm a dad, And I feel like those things right there really create our why, especially when we have things like that that just kind of wake us up early, right? I know I did. I got married at 19 years old, right? So I'm like, I got married and was out on my own at 19, and it was just it really, I think what it really does, man, it just puts a fire under you to be like, I don't know, I don't have family that's going to inherit money. I don't have, rich parents. You never had that. It was just like, I just know to hustle. That's it. I just know one way to better my situation is just to hustle and just to work, man. And I think a lot of people, especially that have that overcome that early on in life, man, it just puts a fire in them, right? That's just really, man, we're just built different. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just built different. It doesn't matter what we do, we're just going to outwork everyone, right? Like you said, like, hey, you had success in these different avenues. So tell me a little bit about kind of what that looked like, and what was going through your head when you found out you were going to be a father at 19?
Well, you're absolutely right. It was a crazy challenge, and it was definitely a combination of excitement
Mm-hmm.
and I'm deathly afraid because we weren't in a position where we're making a ton of money or we had any investments. We were kids, and we were kids having a kid,
Yes,
and
man.
that was really like the moment where it's like, okay, change your life. And we moved towns to another town and just really got to it. I went through a couple jobs, one of them being like a manager of a restaurant and serving, and then I finally decided I'm done with that and got into my own company. But I think what really it's about is how you were raised, because I guarantee your work ethic comes because you know how to work when you were young. So when you were working when you were younger, I was working when I was 12 years old,
Yeah.
mowing 7 neighbors' yards, getting
Yep.
paid monthly for those services.
Yep.
And it really started from there. When I was 14 years old, I worked at a tree farm, and I was out selling 25-year-old dudes there on the limited hours I was able to work on a worker's permit. So I think your work ethic comes from the way that you were raised, whether it was a bad childhood or a good childhood. I
Right.
think work ethic is like a different level of learning that you can collect from people, whether you have a
Yeah.
single mom who works hard or a
Mm-hmm.
dad who's out doing construction,
Yep.
or you don't have a dad around and you have to see how hard your parents have to work, or you see both
Right.
your parents successful and married and working hard and you have this wonderful family. One way or another, you can learn how to hustle and have great work ethic, or you don't.
Right.
So, and more today, we're seeing less and less of that.
No, that's
Uh,
true. That's 100% true, because I think about it, like my first job, I was 12 years old. They packed us in this van. They would pick us up after school, right? I was in middle school, and they packed us up in this van, and they just take us to these random neighborhoods, and we'd all get this little blue box, and we just had to go door to door selling just random stuff, right? And that is where I just kind of like was like, okay. And the other thing is, you could work all day long and not make anything because you only made what you sold. Like, you only, it was a commission, right? So you only got paid what you sold. And man, and that's where I learned early on. And the other thing is, I was adopted. My grandparents adopted me when I was going into high school. Had a bad living situation, and my grandparents took us in, and but I've always lived around my grandparents. And one thing that, bless his soul, my grandfather passed away a few years ago. I never in my entire life. He worked at the same place. He built airplanes, and he worked at the same place his entire life, as long as I've known where he worked. And never did he call in, never did he have a sick day. It was grind. And he was up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he was out, and never ever ever did I ever see him call in sick, miss work, anything. I barely even seen him take a vacation. And man, and I think that like imprinted on me very early. Like, listen, man, if you want to better your situation, okay, you don't have money for college, you don't have all of this other stuff, dude, grind, right? That's it. Learn, get good at the hustle. And I think that's something that, but the thing is, you're right, it's early on, and some people can grasp it later on. But man, you either have it or you don't. you know, because
Really.
it's tough out there, and especially if you're not given anything, and a lot of kids today maybe are just given a lot to where they never seen going without, they never seen the tough times, and man, that's a huge imprint on somebody, man. Just changes like the direction of who they are, and I see that in a lot of entrepreneurs. It's mostly on, it's 100% entrepreneurs, man. It's like, I'm going to bet on myself, right? I'm
Yeah.
rolling the dice on myself and not what other people say, think, what I am, who I am, how much money I can make, and who can I be. So man, I think you're 100% right on that, man. So you're 19, you start
So
a
I'm
business.
19 years old. My wife is my wife at the time was pregnant, and we dove into it. And I just got to work. My number one goal is you're going to stay home with the kids. She was from England. They have that very tight motherhood philosophy with midwives and all that. And
Yeah,
her mom was a stay-at-home mom as well. So that's what we did. And we were really blessed for that. My kids are very well-rounded because of that.
yeah.
As we moved on, like I said, I opened up that home theater company. We went on to have two more precious little daughters, two little blondies just like me. And so my kids' names are Jude, Aspen, and Delilah. Jude's the eldest at 11. My daughter Aspen's 9, and then Delilah is 5 years old.
A beautiful name.
Beautiful kids, and we went through a lot together building this from a young age. But my number one goal was always, take responsibility and don't let these kids know that you're younger than every other parent out there. Give them
Right,
a life that they deserve.
right.
And I found that opening my own company, I made way more money. I could work, you work way more, but at the same time, you don't. You can make way more money.
Sure,
So,
sure.
but once we got into this house, we bought this house top of a hill in Evergreen, and then after time, we moved down the hill to get closer to the city. And we turned this into an Airbnb, had immediate success. After a few years, my home theater company got bought out, and I turned my focus onto short-term rentals. Got a job within
Mm,
the industry for a large company called iTrip Vacations, and I was a business development manager for the Denver office here. And I basically was the guy who found and brought on new clients. And I learned a lot of what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. And from there, I took that and opened a place smack dab in the middle of downtown Evergreen, which has a beautiful lake. It's that mountain property you think
yeah.
of. It's absolutely gorgeous. Highly recommend it for anything from vacations to weddings to ice skating in the winter. It's a great place to be. So we're right in downtown Castro or Evergreen right now, and have a portfolio of amazing mountain homes that we manage. And we really pride ourselves on customer service and drive for the best ratings for every single guest. And we really do that through amenities. All of my places, they have to meet three main criteria, hot tub, fire pit, game room. If you don't meet those to be in our platform here, unless it's an apartment, we choose not to work with those people because we really have a brand that we
Sure.
look to maintain and go for. And through that, we've maintained the top ratings, the top bookings. Our occupancy rates are absolutely awesome for all of our properties across the board. So extremely happy about that. And that was my main company that I started and I still maintain today.
Nice, nice. So, if somebody, I guess, so there's obviously going to be a lot of people watching, listening to this, and they're going to be interested. Like, hey, what's the step? Like, what do I, how do I go about? Now, I understand like there's a lot of different ways to do that, but if someone based off of your experience here, and actually, I'm kind of interested myself. What's the step? Like, what's the steps to go through in order to really, make a really good Airbnb? Like, what are like the keys? Because I mean, I know, like myself, we have properties as well, but and we've considered doing Airbnbs, but it's just like, what makes a good performing Airbnb? I mean, obviously we talked about the amenities that you talked about, but is there anything outside of that to say like, hey, these are the main 5 things, to have a really
Yeah,
performing
yeah.
Airbnb?
Well, let me be clear. Colorado is a destination location.
Right.
So the pressure on us and the amenities that come with the house just in its geographical location, because we're in the beautiful Rocky Mountains,
Right.
and people really want to be here just for that aspect, whether it's in the summer with like mountain biking and tubing and hiking up here, to the winter where really a lot of people that are going skiing come to our houses in this mountain town. So we are spoiled here. A lot of places, they are having some struggle because of market saturation and
Yeah.
local restrictions, but in Colorado, yes, there's rules, but the demand is high. So we're blessed here.
Right.
What I would recommend, I mean, the very start, if you're looking to get into a short-term rental investment, say you're saying, I want to buy one,
Hmm.
uh, you want to get in touch with an STR-minded real estate agent or contact a short-term rental manager first, because that is the rule number one in this. With all the local regulations that are changing and
Right.
the uncertainty in some of the markets, you want to have a professional by your side that's going to say, hey, you don't want to be in this neighborhood, whether it's because of that county or city's regulations or because it's got an HOA. And
Right.
we can't deal with that HOA for these reasons. So if you bring in a professional that's STR minded, we really dive deep to make sure that your property can be a short-term rental, not only today or in the next 6 months, but in the next 10 years, because longevity matters on these things. You don't want to
Right.
get into an investment with expectations of making 2 to 3 times the money you would make on a long-term rental and then get forced down to that long-term rental income.
Right.
So that's number one. If you're getting into it, that's the number one step. Number two, if you own a property and it's a long-term rental, I recommend you that I highly recommend you reach out to a local agent, which if you're in the Austin area, we have all sorts of Austin, Texas area. We have a great recommendations down there of some fabulous people. But long-term rentals will never give you the same ROI as a short-term rental. There's no question about it. Not only are you giving away the rights to your property for 1 to 2 years, where you never get to see it in between,
Right.
but you also don't, people have this misconception of, hey, I'm putting my property on Airbnb. It's going to get ruined because it's going to have tons of people in and out of my house. They're going to wear out everything. Well, that's a clear misconception, because when you have a professional maintaining it, we have cleaners in there every week. We have in-house maintenance men, and we really drive quality. So we make sure the houses are maintained. You're not going to find a sink that has been leaking for 6 months because your tenant didn't let you know. On
Right.
top of that, you get to use the property too. So if you have a property in a destination location, say in Galveston, it's near the beach and you're renting out long term, well, you don't get access to this. But with short-term rentals, you get to go visit your home whenever you want. Plan that family vacation and go have a good time. And that's welcomed in the short-term rental industry. So those benefits really put it over the edge on getting into.
No, that's great, because I know a lot of folks now that with they're just not seeing the returns they are, and let's say putting putting those funds in the market, and it's just so volatile that I mean, for me, I love real estate. I love investing in real estate, and I know that there's just so much return on that, but then just to like supercharge it and really maximize that, to really supercharge your ROI. Man, like I said, that's why I'm really, really interested in looking at the short-term rental opportunities. As a matter of fact, like I said, everywhere we go, we're always looking for opportunities, right? We came from Pensacola, and we're searching while we're there, what's available, what is the price, what does the market look like, things like that. My wife's down in Galveston right now. We're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be looking around like, hey, what is the market doing down here? How's it performing, and things like that. So we're always on the lookout, because and I think just, you're right, if you're in a destination area, yeah, I think it's definitely is you have that edge, to make sure that you're making sure that that property does perform. So man, I love it.
You're definitely right, but it's not just about the destination. It's all about the management team that you have working your property. A lot of people get stuck with these larger name brand companies out there that are offering you a cheaper service, but
Mhm.
you get what you pay for.
Sure.
So if you go with a large company that's putting you on a software reel, well, you're not going to get the same results as a smaller company that comes in and has personalized managers for every single property. And when a property is not occupied, we have a meeting and say, why? What can we do? Whether it's through our direct booking platforms or running promotions on the major Airbnb, VRBO, Travelocity, Booking.com. those sort of things is what we give to our customers, all the way to when somebody books, we send them messages for before and after if we have available days saying, hey, we got special deals on these days, come book with us. So if you want a great ROI, yes, get into the short-term rental market, but do your research. Make sure you get into a company that really cares about you. And if they do have a slightly higher commission, you have to look at the reviews and what that company is about and understand you get what you pay for. So if you're making more money, that commission equals out.
Right, right. And that was the other thing, right? That's the next thing I wanted to ask. Like, what are the main things to look for? I know you just listed a ton of those, but like, if we just said, hey, if we're going to be in a certain area, what are some of the things like, hey, look out for this, and this when we're picking, a management team?
Okay, so it's very important to go and look at their profiles and the properties that they carry. This is number one because a lot of sites and reviews can be misconceiving. And
Mhm.
so you want to go onto these large platforms, find that management company, and then go to the reservations on their specific properties. And then you can actually see how they're performing, not just what I'm telling you, but
Right,
what their actual properties are doing. So if you see it's got 10 days booked in August, well, that's an issue. That property should be having, 15 to 18. And if it's really not performing in a sense where you're like, wow, that's impressive, and you see that across the platform of the properties they have on their portfolio, that's your number one telltale sign. If they're not performing for other people, which is public knowledge because you can find the profiles on Airbnb, VRBO, and then just go and press that reservation button and see what days you can go stay there if you wanted to. But just to have that information is the number one piece. Google reviews are great. Of course, if you're giving bad service, it's going to be listed, but that can be misconceiving. So really it's that. And then you want to look into the company's organization. What do they offer you as part of their services? What are the promises that this company is giving you? And are they able to come through on those deliverables? So when we give out, if I was coming to your house and saying, awesome house, this is what we have to offer, I bring a full binder with me. And it's got all the information about us, our platform, the owner's portal, and then a full list of facts about it, about our company and what we do. And then along with that, we do full pro formas on the property. So they know exactly what we believe off of market analytics, what their property can do and what we believe that we can make them annually. So that's called showing up prepared. If you have somebody come into your house for a meeting and they show up with nothing in their hands and haven't done a pro forma, that's your number two telltale sign of you're not going to have the best experience. Um, the third one is going with the big name brand software only companies. Save you money, but that's what you are. You're in a software company. They put you on a reel and nobody cares whether you get bookings or not. And when it comes down to your reviews, you're looked at as this major company and not as an individual or a small time business,
right, right.
So it affects the quality of reviews because people are way more willing to bash the big box store over, Joe Blow that's really trying hard to run his Airbnb.
Right. Man, that's great. No, that's great insight. I never really thought of it that way. But yeah, you're right. I mean, first of all, going in and seeing how they're performing, anybody can do that. Because we've booked so many Airbnbs and that's you're right. Like you can see like what's how are they booked this month and what are they booked next month and what does that look like? So yeah, that's great. And the other thing I liked you said was you come prepared, right? Because it's almost like when you're selling a house, right? You can say, hey, this is what I can do. This is how much you can sell it for, and this is where we think the market is in your area. And that's great. And I think for the most part, I think most people just take that simple route instead of doing that. They just kind of go and I'm just going to put my home on the biggest name out there and hopefully it performs. So and that's really great information because I think especially a lot of first time short-term rental owners that they just don't think of it that way. They're not necessarily, I mean, they don't know what they don't know, and that's the biggest thing. They don't know that there's better out there. So no, that's awesome information.
Definitely, man. And I think the main key for the entire thing is to come to the STR Growth Summit because this is
Let's
exactly
go.
what we're going to be talking about in the STR Growth Summit and really be driving these facts home with people that have been in the industry like Julie George, TJ Tajani, Dr. Rachel, Judah Swaggerty, just a best-selling Amazon author. So we have some major names that are coming to add value to people's lives and give them the insights so they can skip over all of the mistakes that some of us
Yes.
made on the way, and really get tangible stuff. No 30,000-foot views. We're not going in there to sell $10,000 packages after we're done. We're going in there to give people the information so they can walk out and feel confident and have the tools and the companies they need behind them to create success and maintain that success.
Man, okay. So listen, tell us a little bit more, a bit more about the summit. Um, First of all, tell us what's going on, where is it at, and how's it going, and then we can talk about how we get involved.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So number one, strgrowsummit.com. That's where you'll find us. Check it out. You'll see all the speakers. We're having amazing panels with amazing people. And a lot of what we're doing here is to drive growth, and it is straight in the downtown developing area of Austin, Texas. It's East Austin there. Beautiful little area. It's at a place called Market Fair, September 10th through the 12th. All that information is on the website, but it's going to be 3 jam-packed days of information and valuable stuff. We're also like giving back to the heritage of Austin, which has a lot of Hispanic heritage. So we got some great companies coming from that side, all the way to our entire conference as a whole. We're going to be donating 15% to Global Action Partners, which is a charity that does good around the world, a very transparent and awesome charity. So we're one of the first conferences doing that. But
That's
what we
amazing.
really bring to the table for our guests is every aspect of the market so they can come in not knowing a thing when they show up, and when they walk away, whether it's from hot tub maintenance and pool maintenance to cleaning to taxes. We have taxes of people and bookkeepers and financial advisors, living will people. And so we're really trying to help people find wealth, develop their companies, and take their wealth to the next level and build it for the long term, and not just build it today and lose it tomorrow.
Right, right. No, man, that's awesome. I feel like, for a lot of folks that are just interested, or maybe they're not perform maybe they do have properties and they're just not performing. Maybe they're new into the business, or they're really, really interested in doing it. I think this is a great opportunity to really go in and plug in and really find out what you don't know. Right. Because this is the thing, one little mistake, one little, if not doing it correctly, could cost you thousands, right? In whether it's your property's not performing because
Yep.
you don't have it, that's going to cost you money. Or maybe you're overspending on somewhere where you shouldn't be, right? Because a lot of new people, they want to go in and they want to, really make it bigger than it really needs to be to perform properly. So I think, this is a great way to find out like where to spend your money to maximize your return on your investment. And don't skimp on the things that you're not supposed to skimp on, because that can cost you money by people not coming back. So yeah, there's so many different potholes there that are landmines that could either, they can cost you money, or you can spend too much money on where you didn't need to, where you can allocate those funds somewhere else and really get that property to perform. So yeah, that's amazing to be able to just plug into and experts in the industry to where you can really maximize your ROI, because it's a business. And I think for a lot of people, some people, they maybe I seen this, I especially seen this when people that are selling properties or flipping properties, and they'll just go in and just spend way too much money than it needs to be, or put the money in the wrong place. Right,
Yeah.
you're spending so much money on all these outside ancillary things instead of on the property where you're going to get your money back on. So man, that's awesome to be able to know, okay, this is what I have, this is where I should put my money, and really that learning curve, just take that down to just almost nothing. So man, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
you can really consider it a roadmap. A roadmap. You're
yes.
going down the road, and there's so many turns that you can take. And there's the right way to take, and there's the wrong way to take. And programs like this, like the one we're creating, really take people on a path that's going to be a lot easier, so they can avoid those costly mistakes that you're talking about. I mean, all the way from inception of you purchasing the home
Mhm.
to the remodeling that you're
Mhm.
going to do on the home, because you're absolutely right. Some people want to come in and redo every single bathroom, redo the kitchen, whereas sometimes it's not necessary.
Right.
But let me be clear, there are markets out there that are struggling, and there are places out there that you need to put the money into that property to make sure that you stand out from the competition. For example, Joshua Tree,
Yeah.
beautiful location. Everybody is there now. It's a
Mhm.
saturated market, so people are having to up their game more and more
Right.
to still meet that occupancy. We're not all as blessed as being in Colorado, and we understand that. So we have people coming from all areas that will help show people the exactly what you said. How can I do this efficiently, cost effectively, and really maintain 5 stars and
Mhm.
drive the highest occupancy rate
Right.
possible?
Right. No, that's great. I mean, like I said, we all have our ideas, right? We all have an idea of what it should be, but to get, that information directly from someone that's in the game, that's already made the mistakes, they already know how to get a property to perform, and just to be able to just take those notes directly from them and implement those, whether in your current property or in a property that you're looking to add to your portfolio. And that's a great, I mean for me, I think that's a great way just to go in there and learn, what you don't know, right? Because even if you currently run Airbnbs now, right, that doesn't necessarily mean that you run it in the most efficient way. And you're right now short-term rentals, they are taking a hit right now. Now it's even more than ever, you need to know these things, right, so you can maximize your performance on each one of those properties even more than ever. Yeah. So no, this is great. I think it's a great opportunity for people to come out, plug in 3 days to just soak it all in and make sure that we're protecting our investment. So man, that's great. That's great. So tell us again, give us the times, the dates, where it's going to be at. How do we contact you? Yeah, just let us know.
Okay, well, definitely. I mean, you guys can check us out at strgrowsummit.com. That's going to be the main way for you to purchase tickets. Other than that, we are all over social media under STR Growth, mainly on Instagram and Facebook. We'd love to see you guys there. But the event is hosted on September 10th through the 12th in Austin, Texas, at Fair Market in Eastern Austin. So we'd love to see you guys there. We're so excited to have everybody. It's going to be something where we all walk away with an extreme opportunity to grow our business and work together. And one more thing to point out is when you come, it's all about learning. But number two, it's all about networking. The people that you're
Yes.
going to meet, the professionals that you're going to meet at these conferences and at any conferences,
Mhm.
it's a huge value add to your life and the people around you and what you can do. So get out to the conference, learn a lot, and get some networking going.
Let's go, brother. I'm excited, man. I can't wait. I hope everybody gets in, they can get to Austin in September. Man, come out. And you're right. I think just meeting other people in your area, and that's a big thing too. Someone that can, that you can just call, not just the experts, right? But just other people that are doing it in your area, and that you can call, have coffee with, and really, change information, and just have someone to lean on in between the times when you can't necessarily, maybe not be able to get a hold of an expert, and but to just say, hey, listen, let me just bounce some ideas off you. And who knows, there's so many collaboration, different projects. Hey, maybe somebody's selling a product. There's just so many things out there, and I every time that I go to a summit, man, I just get so much out of it, just because, right, just meeting other professionals. And even if it's not necessarily that specific thing that we're going for, man, I always just love to have that information, just so I can have other folks that I can have in my portfolio when I need them. Man, it's awesome. I really love it. I always get a lot of just a lot of like I talk about return on my investment, right? And I get a lot back from that, just to have those people, to have those contacts, to make those contacts. Man, it's just man, it's amazing, especially in this industry, and especially right now where you have to be on top of your game. You really do. It's no longer, hey man, it's just a money grab or cash grab, and if you just throw one up, you're gonna to make money. It's man, now you really have to be on your game and to learn from the experts. Man, it's worth
Yeah.
every penny. Worth every
The
penny.
gold rush is over. The gold rush is over, and now we have to work for what we get.
Yeah.
But the reality with the conferences is if you make one right contact, that contact can change your life.
Yeah.
And it's done it for me, and it's done it for a lot of people. So that's the biggest thing here is what's one takeaway that you could take from any experience from life that can drive you forward. So conferences are a place to go where you find like-minded people that are receptive to what you're doing as well. So I'm so glad you had me today, my man.
Man, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate all of the, sharing about you, sharing your story. Man, listen. So you're okay. So the other thing I forgot, I didn't ask you. Your wife is from England.
Yes. So she is my ex-wife. We completed our marriage. It was a successful completion with 3 beautiful children. So we're really thankful for that. But yes, so she's English. My children have that whole like half American, half English accent.
I had to find out. Do they have the accent?
They straight up do, because her whole family is super English and have heavy accents, and it's really cute actually.
I bet it
see
is.
them using all these different words, and they call the garage the garage, and aluminum aluminium. I still don't know why.
Rubbish.
But yeah, and I always get made fun of for my R's, because we have hard R's over here, and they don't say the R's.
Why are you enunciating?
Yeah, I'm like, I just pronouncing what I'm supposed to here. You're not saying.
You got an accent, not me.
Yeah, look where you're at.
No, man, I love it, man. I'm a girl dad myself, brother. And listen, man, it's such a blessing. But anyways, man, yeah, hey, thanks for coming on board, man. Thanks for sharing your story. I really appreciate it. And man, let's fill this conference up.
My man, I'm excited to see you there. I'm excited to talk more to you outside of the podcast and really dive deep with you too, my man. It's been an honor being here. Have yourself an awesome day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, guys, let's go. We'll see you in Austin.
We'll see you there. Don't miss it.
Let's go.